Wake up. Wake up.
Pretty much.
Open your eyes. Hold still.
Jeez, lady.
Not infected. What the... Sherry?
Yeah. Pretty much.
Where's Sherry? Sherry's fine.
If it's not human, then you can do what you want, right?
Do you know Sherry? It's an impressive display of strength. What happened to her? We have to assess the situation. Who are you? I'm Claire. I didn't foresee this. Excuse me. Where is she? Hello? What? Oh, Annette. Tell me, what happened to William? I don't know. Who's that? The creature responsible for this. What? Can you help me find Sherry? Seems to be evolving much faster than expected. Where are you going? Look, I don't have time to play 20 questions.
I only asked you one.
Everything's under control. I need to find Sherry. My daughter is not your concern.
Yeah. I mean...
Where did Sherry go?
Some things never change.
Sherry's her daughter?
I know, right? Someone lucked out. So here's a report about G. Annette's initial assessment on the situation. The TLDR is we're fucked. We're pretty fucked. There is an item box in here, right? Oh, thank God. I was about to say. I probably don't need this right now. This isn't going to be much use for us yet right now either. So we'll drop that and that and that and that and that and that and just dropping everything. I kind of really want to use any more gunpowder at this point. I kind of want to see what else I'm going to turn up with. If we can find the Colt, we're pretty good for handgun rounds for probably the rest of the game. Most likely. So I don't really want to make many more at this stage. We'll need to take some health first. That's probably a good idea. We've also only found one hit pouch at this point, which is a little disappointing. I would like that for that to improve. This game's nice and kind of just give me a load of machine gun ammo right here, so that's nice of it. We'll stack those up. Can't continue on. She kind of locks the door. How many saves have I got? I have 3. We can spend one. Alright. I think all things considered, I don't think we've done too bad so far. We have not died, which isn't bad, in 3-ish hours and change. Especially given the way this run started, which was rough. We probably should have died once. I think I probably got a little bit fortunate, but you know, you take what you can get. And to be fair, I got myself out of some pretty dicey situations too. So, you know, sometimes you earn a little bit of run. Sometimes. Right.
Sherry? Can you hear me?
Right.
Now I'm gonna smell like shit. Literally.
Yay! Pretty rough. Now, We have not got the grenade launcher yet. That is a concern. With no grenade launcher, there's certain things we can't do. She said the thing. The other thing she says is funny. Say the line, Bob. Very fancy.
Cable card. Here?
I know, right? Very spiffy. God damn it. Not that line. Right. This is the Claire run. Can you... I mean, they both have the option of the MAC-10. The TMP itself doesn't quite exist. It's a bad fucking room. Someone didn't bring a grenade. Kind of need a fight in here, though. There are various things to grab, particularly... Hello, we needed that so... I'm actually unsure if I'd have dropped down if I'd have soft-locked the game. I don't... No, we wouldn't have soft-locked, but it would have been close. Emails. Right, let's do this quickly. SZ... F? Too good at video games. Not a lot there. Definitely Zeffy up here. Very good. Alright, we never have to come in here ever again. Very good. It helps that I played this game 2 weeks ago.
What is this?
Sherry, I told you, I cannot leave here until my work is done.
That's what you always say.
Sherry?
Yeah, Mom.
Why didn't you stay in the house? It was safe there.
Hey, Sherry!
I was scared. Those things were everywhere, and...
You should have called the police. That's what we taught you.
I did, but nobody came, and you didn't answer your phone, so...
Sherry, I don't have time for this.
Oh no. Sherry! Sherry, I'm coming! Hold on, Sherry. I'll be right there.
Some things may have occurred off screen. Right. I still highly, highly appreciate this reference. Now, it should be noted that we already have... We don't need that. Let's drop some of these. I know, right? Sucks to be them. Let's just store like 100 of these away. And that as well. Now, it should be noted that we already have both the videotapes. The USS one that we find in the sewers, and we already have the lab one that you find later here. Now, interesting thing to note, if you play the USS one, it definitely works. It was 2 seconds.
Oh, please, stop. No.
What?
No hurt him.
Didn't go very well.
Glad I watch that.
Now, you can also, if you have the lab to tape this point, you can actually put it in this machine. Except the game then gets confused and just nothing happens. It's like, what? What the fuck are you doing? But weirdly enough, it doesn't like stop you from putting the tape in. It does the same animation as the previous tape, and then it just... It's a bit... But it's a thing! So you gotta show it off. Like, yeah, it's... To be fair, they do it pretty well. Fair play to them. Now, it should also be noted that we already have all 6 plugs. We could literally do this puzzle and go. It's kind of tempting, not gonna lie. It's kind of tempting. But before we mess with anything here on a randomizer, anything here, save your game. Otherwise, you can softlock yourself here. And you do not want to do that. Also, here's the... yeah, you don't want to... You do not want to do it. You will softlock yourself if you're not careful here. Don't do it. I know, right, I guess. We've only just got here in the sewers. I'm not doing it yet. I've literally just got here. It's just we already have all 6 of the plugs. Which is kind of not really how it's meant to be, but sure. So... Now, the thing is, to be fair, we actually don't need to worry about it. So we can look at what plugs we've got here. So we've got, like, the night plug here. So we want to do... Let's save the fucking game. Before I do fucking break this game. Let's not do that. Oh, yeah. Don't... Yeah, randomize this. It's a bad way to go. Really? Ouch. That's rough. That is rough. So you want to do is select the item and then put it back. And then the randomizer will kick in and turn it into what it now is going to be. So these are now flame rounds. Good to know. The night plug here, for example, turns into a key you need to complete the game. This is why you check this stuff. And the pawn plug turns into a blue herb here, which is good. So one thing you'll need to remember is that night plug and pawn plug here later on. Now what will happen is later on when you do the puzzle, once you solve the puzzle, you can then recycle the items to get whatever's here again, and you can double spawn it, which is kind of cool. So just bear in mind that that's the bishop plug, because there's nothing telling you that, but that's the knight and that's the pawn, for example, in the B game. But that's how, on the very first run we ever did, we got 2 Gatling guns spawned right here. It was pretty outrageous. So that was definitely a thing. Okay, so we need definitely that. And we need definitely that. But I now need to work out what path am I taking through here. Down there. Here. I reckon we go and do this bit. It was pretty funny. And then I realized I could game the system to get 2. And then we open this. Because this side is busted. You have to open it from this way. And then we go back on ourselves. And then this way. Down here. And then whatever it is I do from there, basically. I think that's the plan. It's not the route you're meant to take. Oh, no, I wouldn't want to go down. I'd then want to take the break room. And you go back to the RPD. What am I talking about? But we can get through a lot of key item stuff here nice and early, so that's all good. But we are going to have to run into the machine gun for the time being. That much is for sure. We need to find some hit pouches. Not gonna lie. We need to find some hit pouches. We still need to find the weapons key. We need to find the stars badge. We need to find the detonator. We need to find the battery. Or is that one item in the B game? I actually don't remember. It's been a while. I don't actually think I need this. But I'll take it, I guess. Here's Leon's note. Yeah, you're almost out of the city. I've got to take care of something before I leave, but I need to tell you something in case you don't make it. This was all Umbrella's doing. Let the people know. Oops. Oh! Neat.
ID wristband required for cable car entry.
I guess I've never played the Claire B on PC, have I? All the original runs I did on console. I did on Xbox One, I believe it was. Yeah, I never played it on PC, just realised. I bought this game and played Resistance. Is the sad truth of the matter, but regardless. Anyways. That's happened. I bought Resident Evil 2 Remake to play Resistance. That's exactly what I did. Don't judge me. Still, the highest viewed streams I've ever done on this channel was Resident Evil Resistance. I will never let that die. The irony lives on. There's the code. They never rubbed it off for reasons. It's true. It's true. It's so bizarre. Was it 6 or 8? Fuck. It was 8. Yeah. And you know, we had some busy streams. Like I remember the highest stream we had about 80 people on one stream at one point playing Resistance. Resistance. Mind blowing. Just stay there, please, sir. Thanking you. I still talk about Resistance every now and again. Like, you know, then we had a lot of good memories. I do say how, like, I do go back and look at the, some of the games in the other YouTube series. We are at 880 on Outbreak, just for a completely different reason. But hey. I think I got that the wrong way around. How are we doing health-wise anyways? 4 full mixes, plus one I've got, so that's 5 full mixes and a load of reds. So we're doing pretty good on health. And that pleases me. All things being equal, I think we've played pretty good so far, so I can't complain. It's the one thing whenever I play like RE2 remake or RE3 remake, like obviously I think of Resistance because it's the same engine. As I always say, like I do miss it, but I don't think I could ever bring myself to play it again because it just wouldn't be the same. This room is a trap. This room is a trap. Get him. Okay, I think he's dead. Damn, this dude lost both his arms. Rough. Also. Don't let him trick you. Because He'll cause you problems later, and it's not fun. I was making sure. I saw his leg fall off. I was like, he might not be dead. A sad reality. Ooh, ink ribbons. Very nice. We'll play around with that later. And by later, I mean, of course, right now. I always feel like there's something's gonna hide like around one of these corners. It never does. Bad memories of playing Hunk Scenario, where there's shit hiding everywhere. No flame launcher. I know, right? It's like they want me to stab them. It's a good find. It's a good find. So yeah, we can't open this from this side. I'll quickly show up. You've got a T handle here, but it's out of commission. So we'll have to open that from the other way. It was so weird as well, by the way. Just on saying in the comment, like I did build up resistance about a week or so ago, not to play the game. I just booted it up just to get hold of a couple of loose things from it. What? But you don't have any. How would that... Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Shows what he thinks of Resident Evil Resistance. Anyways, I booted up the game about a week or so ago, just to grab a couple of loose things and just to check a couple of things I couldn't quite remember about the game. It was both weird and partially upsetting in the weirdest of ways. Because obviously you boot it up and like it comes back to you all the cool shit that I did. And all the fun we had and like some of the really, really entertaining streams we did. You know, exploring the game. And you think of the good times and then inevitably your mind goes to the not so good times. And then you get a little bit sad. So. But that's why I would never bring myself to play the game again. I have the good memories, you know, and I want to keep it that way. And I hope that never changes, you know. Is there worlds where I play it again? Yes. Are they realistically ever going to happen? Right, so I have no grenade launcher at this point, and my spark shot's pretty empty, which means we can't do a lot here. We're gonna have to just, run for our lives.
What the fuck?
It wasn't an update. Well, it's complicated. So, yes and no. The game, ironically, like the basic game general mechanics of where it was, say, 3 months after the game came out, was probably where the game should have been in the end. Ooh, nice. Because one of the issues, like, at the start, when the game first came out, there was some issues with certain things that killers do. For example, in the way it works is, like, you'd spawn in an area, you'd go through the level, go through the doors, and then you go to, like, the next safe room sort of thing, and you move on. However, a lot of those areas weren't actually safe and could be accessed by the mastermind controlling monsters. And that's what happens sometimes, is masterminds would set up situations where they just put a shitload of enemies by the door and just rush the survivor team immediately before, especially at the very start of the game, before they could buy anything. And it was very annoying. To the point where, like, if you watch back some of my stuff on my YouTube channel, I'll play as, like, Sam, I'd play as, like, Tyro, and I would literally, first thing I'd do, if I thought there was an ambush, is I'd run straight out the door and just fight it before the mastermind could even do anything about it. Especially as Sam. Sam's really good at stalling them. Tyrone can kick stuff, like, and because if you just get ambushed, it's a nightmare. But if you get on top of them before they do it, you can catch them off guard, and it really ruins, like, their strategy. That was what it was. You know, and that's what it was. They, after a little while, they set up so, like, all the safe areas had, like, barricades, so nothing could get in them. Which is what they should have had in the beginning. They didn't, so be it. It's not as bad as it sounds. It's just, if a team was unprepared and got rushed, it was pretty bad. And that's just the way it went. Unfortunately, the base game allowed a lot of situations for masterminds to do some pretty scummy things they wanted. There was one game I've got recorded. I think it was like Revenge is Sweet. I think it was called. It was a game of Anne on the amusement park, where literally in the second area, there was a situation. She was playing as Birkin, as with the main monster, actual Birkin, for the liquid time. She was literally spawn killing January in the initial safe room. Literally, January, she, like, killed, literally, January would spawn, head grab, insta-killer, January would respawn, head grab, insta-killer. Like, you've got to be really, really fucking, like, that's bad. That is real shit, real bad. And unfortunately, that's just the way the game was. We also have to get out of here, though. Like, this is about to be carnage! You know. Now, to be fair, it didn't happen often.
Son of a bitch.
But the fact that it could happen was the problem. Also, I should have brought a grenade here. I don't know why I didn't. That was a mistake. This is about to be chaos here. So, you know, they are not dead. By the way. You know, and things like that would happen, and I would, like, make a point of dealing with it. And it's like, it was sloppy from the developers. They should not have allowed something like that to happen. You know, now, mercifully, I was able to do something about it, because luckily grenades existed. And grenades could stop that situation from ever happening, but still, like, you know, stuff like that was a bit of a mess. And that's the way it was. But I will still retain that for Resident Evil Resistance, the first, like,
What the fuck?
6 weeks of the game, at least on PC, were great. When you got a good game that was balanced, and, like, yeah, the teams were about, yeah, the mastermind as well was about even sort of footing, and people were still kind of figuring out the game a little bit. The game was great entertainment, and, like, when you had a good game, it was awesome. Like, really, really fun. And that's why I've got a lot of them that are still saved. And, you know, and everything like that. And it's really, really good times. The problem became... There were 2 problems. The first problem... Something's still up. I'm just going to carry everything here while we're here. The first problem came... is the fact that the player base... I think that's broken, by the way.
Oh no.
I think that busted. It did break. Now, the first problem you had is that the player base on PC was never great. Unfortunately, that's just the way it went, sadly. They started off with, it was about 4,500, which wasn't terrible, actually. You know, for a first week, you know, a good find. For a first week, you know, like, right out of the gate, not terrible. Not great, but not terrible. The problem is that the game didn't retain its player base very well. Yeah, just chatting about you know, as you do. Should be noted that I don't actually think we're even meant to get the minigun in this run. I could be wrong, or at least not get it now. Can't really recall. Suspicious. So yeah, player base was a bit of a problem. The other problem was that, ironically, the first DLC of the game was both a blessing and a curse. Now, as overall content-wise, it wasn't actually, like, that bad. There was some cool... Another green herb. We'll have to come back for these later on. There was some cool stuff. Like, Jill getting introduced was good. I think she was a fun survivor. She was strong, but not overly so. And she kind of brought some cool stuff to the table, and that was great. Unfortunately, the problem was Nikolai. And it wasn't because of Nikolai himself, because, like, Nikolai in Remake 3 is great entertainment. You know, New Newborn did a fantastic job as him. By the way, we're gonna have to fight this thing. Hold on a second. Minigun is very strong against these things. I don't know, Ash. Like, the first hour was pretty rough. First hour was pretty rough. So, one of the things that I think Resistance excelled at... Ooh, yes. I'll take those. And I think where one of the funnest parts of the game was being able to take on monsters. Now, if you think of games like Outbreak... Oh, really? I never played it on console, unfortunately, so I wouldn't know. I can only imagine. So, when you think of, like, Outbreak, and when you think of games of that sort of ilk and whatnot, and you think about what's appealing to play as survivors in those games, it's because ultimately what you're doing is you're taking on monsters. Monsters that you can see, monsters that you can attack, that can attack you. And more often than not, you're going to be in situations where you're actually physically combating them. And again, while there were some situations in Resistance where it was ridiculous, you know, it could get a bit much, like where, like Annette stage, like level 3, with just buffing everything to all hell. Sometimes it was a bit much, although if you played as Sam with a sledgehammer and yellow herbs, like, you could just truck through anything you wanted. And I did do that, and there was some amazing games of that. You should go watch. But you're still, like, there's a feedback, if you know what I mean. Like, you're taking actions, and there's a mastermind, but there's another player playing his mastermind, but there's a feedback. Like, they're producing things to fight you, and you're fighting those things, and there's a feedback to it. The problem with Nikolai was that when he came out, it really heavily brought to the fore about not doing that. And what became... Hello. That's what I was looking for. That's a good find. What became very popular very quickly, and it was already starting to do so with Spencer, but especially when it came to Nikolai, was that they simply... It was no longer advantageous to have monster builds. By far the best builds of the game were builds that just had guns. And what he would do is the guns basically had... the masterminds had to operate on these cameras. I don't know if you know much about the game. But there were various cameras scattered about, and you'd control a certain camera, and then you'd use that to, like, either spawn an enemy, or activate traps, or what you would do is attach a gun to it and shoot from it. Now, the problem is that how time worked. One of the problems you always had with monster builds with Resistance is that, obviously, you spend some of your resources to put monsters down, be it zombies, lickers, dogs, whatever the hell, exploders. And you would attack the survivors with that, and they would take damage, and it would cost them time. But ultimately, the survivors are going to kill that monster, and then they're going to get some of that time back, if not all of it. Maybe even make some profit on it. You know, and there was always that bit of feedback. You know, sometimes you'd win some encounters, sometimes they'd win some encounters. What you end up getting is you just get situations where, say, like a mastermind would just simply be on a camera and just simply spawn a gun on it, shoot people like twice so that they lose time and take damage on those shoots, and then they'd retreat the gun before the camera get destroyed. And this would just happen again and again and again and again. And it got worse when you had stuff like slime guns. When you had the air cannon was the absolute fucking worst. Of literally, you'd spawn a turret, fire an air cannon shot at someone, retreat. You'd do like 12 seconds, they'd lose, and there's nothing they can do about it at all. And you just do it again and again. And there was nothing the Survivor team could do about it. And it unfortunately got very, very annoying. Because it was all you ever started playing, especially on PC. Where, like, there was a heavy amount of it. I believe they literally, if my memory serves me correctly, in Japan, the game wasn't even known as, like, Resistance anymore. It was known as, like, I think they jokingly called it, so it was, like, as Gun Survivor, as a reference to, like, the old game or something like that. Which is not a good sign, by any stretch of the imagination. But unfortunately, that's just how the game kind of went, sadly. And it's a great shame. Here's our Magnum, by the way. Our reinforced SLS. Now it can use the high-powered rounds, which we'll use later on. We've only got, like, a couple of those, I think. We have 2! Great. I can't even make any either. That's a shame. We can combine this, although, being honest, it gives us a bullet. I don't think we're using that again. Starter's badge we want on us. We don't need the minigun right now. And we can kind of put that away. I guess that works, sure. Survivor's okay. It's a product of its time. I can't say it's a good game. But I played Survivor a couple of times. It was alright. But yeah, unfortunately, that's what happened. And what you had was you had this confluence of events where not only did you have this massive rise, when it was clearly so much better for masterminds to just simply use guns and mines and nothing else, which took away this whole feedback loop for survivors who you didn't come on onto Resident Evil Resistance and play the game of Survivor to be shot at by cameras. You've come there to fight monsters. You've gone there to take on zombies and lickers, and occasionally deal with, like, the Tyrant and Mr. Rex and whatnot. You know, you're there for that kind of feedback. Unfortunately, by far the best way to play the game was for masterminds to do none of that. So on that side of things, it got very boring. What you also had at the exact same time was the player base was just decimated itself. And what very quickly started happening is games became either squash or be squashed. When Resistance was by far its best, which way am I going here? I've got to go Stars badge. I think going back here is going to be the best way to go. Yeah, that's the best way to go. So yeah, and so that's what happened. The game very, very quickly became a game of hardcores. And of course, what are the hardcores going to do on the mastermind side? Personally, even though I absolutely love Resistance, within 6 weeks, 8 weeks, I couldn't play the game on PC anymore. I just couldn't bring myself to do it. I think I played it like, I think it was like 3 months total. And then I started playing the game on console with like Snake Eater and Gene and a couple others. I played it on like PlayStation 3. Because the thing is, well, when you're playing on keyboard and mouse, stuff like gun builds are even more powerful because you're using a mouse. You're not using like a controller, where Mastermind is a lot harder to do on a controller than it is because you can't be quite as finesse. So Masterminds on console still would do a lot of monster style builds because doing pure camera was very difficult and hard to do correctly and efficiently. So it just didn't happen. So I played a game for like another 6 weeks or so on console, and I enjoyed my time on that and had some good games. Then the prison stage came out. The prison stage was actually kind of fun. It was mastermind-sided for sure, especially the last stage. There was some ridiculous stuff, but on the whole, it was still reasonably fun. So that was the thing. But yeah, so that's unfortunately what happened. So, like, I could do like a half-hour video on Resistance, on its highs and its lows. You know, it's a game which I still think the game in itself was not as bad as people made out. It was a very easy beat and stick because of Resident Evil 3, and Resistance was used to beat it with, which is very unfair. But the ultimate other issue was that people did not want Resistance when it came out. It was a game that people didn't ask for. And that was borne out very, very quickly in the fact that the numbers just were never there, and then did not stick around, unfortunately. They peaked up, they went up a bit for the Dual DLC, because it was free. But it unfortunately did not last very long from there, and, you know, it's a shame. You know, I had some unbelievable great memories from playing Resistance. I will direct you to, if, like, one of my mods are here, if you can, like, link my YouTube playlist. I've got two, actually. One from when I played on the beta. I played a couple of people. I played Sinnoh. Sinnoh Beats, you might be aware of. I played a game against him, actually. It was a pretty entertaining game. And on top of that, but yeah, on the Resistance, on the actual main playlist, like, there are some amazing, amazing games from that. Real great clashes. But unfortunately, once the game finished, once the game was in the base general was in a state that it was like where it should have been, the player base was gone. And unfortunately, as much as, like, I kind of enjoyed the parts of the DLC that came out, there were some parts that was just absolutely killed the game. And it's a great shame. It's a great shame that is what happened, but that's the way it goes sometimes, you know? That's the way it's... I mean, it's too late now. Like, to be fair, I don't even blame Neobards. Neobards were the actual developers for Resistance. It wasn't even, like, Capcom itself. And I don't blame Neobards too much. They were dealt a pretty difficult hand. And I think, to be fair, for what they were given, I think they did pretty good. But Capcom did not help them at all. They really didn't give them much help in any stretch of imagination, and they were kind of just left to die, unfortunately, a bit, which is sadly occasionally the way it goes, but, you know, that is what it is. There's no Tyrant. He's dead, isn't he? So that's good. What am I doing here? USB key. So I gotta quickly get back into the mindset of what I'm doing. Weapons box key we need to do. We need to do that. And somewhere or another there should be a detonator, hopefully. We'll see. I don't even think it was actually that unbalanced. I actually reckon those first 3-4 weeks, it was actually pretty balanced, because everyone was about that same footing. The problem is that, and this is an argument I made during the time, let's take Dead by Daylight. Dead by Daylight is the obvious comparison to Resident Evil Resistance. The one everyone drew, it wasn't very fair, but it's the one that everyone drew. So let's compare the two. Now, Dead by Daylight, on an average week on Steam, still has, say, like, I don't know, say 20,000 people that play at any one time. It's a number. I think it's more than that. It could be less than that. I don't know. When you've got 20,000 people playing at any one individual time, you can manipulate the game a little bit. You can do things to tweak it. You know, so if one side is doing stronger than the other, that'll be sustained for a large portion of the player base, and you can make tweaks to try and balance that. And sometimes that works and sometimes it doesn't. If you have a player base of 500 people, how do you balance a player base of 500 people? This is going from people that are complete novices who are just, like, learning the game to people who have played the game at this point hundreds, if not potentially thousands of hours, some of them. How do you balance that? You can't. And this was the problem. The game only had a player base that was balanceable for only a few weeks. once you got down to like the low hundreds, there was nothing you could do. You could make changes, which in theory might or might not make improvements. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, you're still alive as well. Let's go ahead and use this. But that was the problem. The game very quickly lost its player base, and it was whatever decision you make, there was nothing you could do to quote balance the game unquote. Needle cartridges. That's a nice find. That'll be very useful where we're going. It was always going to. It was always going to. Capcom did no favors, unfortunately, at all, and that was just the way it was, you know. It's a shame. But I always remember, like, playing through it and having some good memories. And again, some of the games I played on, like, you know, I played, especially on, like, in those first few months were, like, astonishingly great. So, but I could write an essay on, like, Resistance, why Capcom made it, why Capcom thought it was a good idea, and how the game was kind of doomed from the start, and it wasn't even Neobard's fault, really. They did what they could, but they were given a very tough ask, and there was only so much they could really do, is the reality of it, so... Storytelling. A little bit. I mean, we're kind of just redoing bits and pieces. There's the fire, by the way. I have considered doing it once or twice, especially at the time I was considered like doing like a video on Resistance, but I don't think I'd be able to. I wouldn't have enough graphics enough, and I don't think enough people would watch it to really justify it. But you know, like I played hundreds of hours of that game. Like between PC and console, I think I put in like about 350 hours into Resistance. You know. That's for over the course of a few months. That was an impressive number. So, the other issue you had as well, if we're going to compare this to, Dead by Daylight, is for one of the big problems currently in Dead by Daylight, for balancing reasons, is the maps. Now, to be fair, a lot of the game is actually, like, there's obviously some killers that are better than others, and some perks that are going to be stronger than others, and this will change over time. Like, 6.1 made a huge difference of that, and that's all well and good. But one of the most unbalanced parts of the game at the moment is maps, and specifically map offerings, where basically either the killer or the survivors can basically force a particular map or selection of maps. There's our gadget. Has it got the battery in it? Does not have the battery. I don't know where the battery is.
This does not sound like Chris.
No, it doesn't. But apparently it was him, so... I don't know where the battery is. Huh. Battery must be down here. Do I want to go all the way down here to get the battery to come all the way back up to blow up the room? Not really. I don't really want to. It's a long old way to march. I think I might just give it up. My go reverse was playing the beta, which I did do. We played the beta. I don't know what's going on in reverse anymore. I don't know if it's cancelled. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, it's not happening. They said they were going to, and then it just went silent. I don't really understand why reverse is a thing. It's an example of Capcom, I guess, trying to use Resident Evil in a context that kind of fits the current in thing of gaming, which they have a habit of doing from time to time. I'm going to need one of those. And I'm going to need that. And I'm going to need those needle cartridges wherever they came from. There they are. Is it due at the end of this month? I had no idea. No, October 28th is the Village DLC. The Village DLC Reverse is not coming out with the Village DLC. Not that I'm aware of. I'm looking this up. Hold on, this is important. We're just going to... Give me 1 second. I need to look this up. Huh. Huh. Shows what I need. It's scheduled for release on October 28th. That doesn't necessarily mean it is being released on October 28th, but they're scheduling for it to be released then. These still images have not changed since the beta. This trailer has not changed since the beta. I'll show you. We'll boot this up here quickly.
Peggy.
Oh, fuck, hold on. Ah! Sorry. Fuck. It's not booting. Shit. When was this? Okay, I'm not going to show it off, but this was 21st of January 2021. This is 18 months ago, this trailer. Yeah, well, it's meant to come out in 2 weeks. I mean, it doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to play it. By any stretch of imagination. But, well, there you go. Sorry about that, everyone. That was important. Was it? I'll be honest, I didn't watch that far into the DLC trailer. I didn't even watch that much of it. So... It's difficult though. Like everyone continues to say we want an Outbreak style game, except it's only the hardcore that are really saying that. And the problem is, it's difficult to do an Outbreak style game now. It's not as easy as it sounds, because you've kind of got to do a lot of work from the ground up. It would definitely be with this engine. Like, don't get me wrong, they would do it with this engine, and that's fine. I think this is definitely the engine I would do it with. But yeah. Do I actually even need to come down here? I don't actually think I need to go down this route. I think there's an item spawn, just gonna make sure. Yeah, I had no idea. I think there's like a... Yeah, here, there's an item spawn. Watch this be the battery. No, it's gunpowder, okay. There is a line for jumping down there, which is kind of funny, but it's like... I need to check one thing. This will take 15 seconds, but I need to see what this is. Clairby Hardcore. Rook. You son of a bitch. Oh, it's funny. Oh, it's funny. That is the battery up there. The root plug turned into the battery, so... I can't bring... I need to check to make sure that there's nothing, a key item in the battery, otherwise I will break the game. I've got to check. Hold on. I need to know, because if it could be like a key item we need to complete the game, could be where behind the battery is. What medallion is it? It's not the wolf. The lion's in the central one. Is it the goddess medallion? Oh, god damn it. Cannot find God. Okay. Medallion. Alright, I need to make sure that we're not going to break the game here. Oh, it's a unicorn medallion. Or maiden medallion. Okay, it doesn't matter. It's ammunition. Alright, okay. Cool, doesn't matter then. We can carry on with our lives. Don't need to worry about it. We're good. Just wanted to make sure. It's hard mode. Nothing spawns there. There you go. Sorry about that. It's been a kind of a weird past 20 minutes or so of this. We've been maybe just chatting.
No, fuck this.
Agreed. Yeah. Pretty shitty. Right. We need to make our way to Pain. Is it down there? Good. I don't know what it's doing down there, and I don't care. I need to grab something before we do this. Unfortunately, it can't, sadly. Because the game still has to bear the bounds of restricting. Also, as well, Ben only got so far on this mod, for example. He never got quite as far as he did for Remake 1, so he never quite reached those heady heights. I'm gonna hope I don't need this. Ooh, am I gonna hope I don't need this? I guess I am. We're gonna live dangerously. I'm gonna drop those as... there are some zombies. I need the inventory space. We need to bring the King and Queen plugs with us before we go down here, which is that one and that one. And we're also going to take a... We're going to make a save here as well while I'm thinking about it. We're doing pretty good on... Which one's which? That's the Queen. Very good. Just save the game before we come down, because this is a bad fucking place. So... But yeah, so sadly, that's the case. Yeah, obviously. That's it. The Remake 1 randomizer is the best randomizer I've probably ever played. It just helps because the fact that the way the game is inherently designed is absolutely perfect to make a randomizer of, because it's basically a big, wide open map. You've got this big central location of the mansion, and then you've got various branches that go off it. So you've got the dorms, you've got the sewer area, you've got the lab, you've got the court, all these areas that branch off, but you've kind of got the mansion as this big hub area where you start in, and you have no idea what way around it's going to go. So, and the fact you can randomize doors and locks and keys and stuff means that, you can kind of come across almost anything. You can sequence break the game. It lets you do all sorts of crazy stuff. We've shown that off. We've, completely broken the game sequencing. The game just happens to be really ideal for that kind of randomizer.
Okay.
Yeah.
This place is...
Yeah, exactly. That's not a bad way of describing it, you know?